All right, this episode is the PROC committee. They're looking at what would happen if we go to elections. And these two witnesses are both election officers for the government. And both of them do an excellent job of spelling out what would happen if we were thrown into election.
Virtual identical voter turnout compared to 2018. 2018 voter turnout was 60, I'm trying to remember now, 60, I think it was 67.4%, and in 2020 it was 67.14. It was.
And Mr. Garrity, you're just undergoing yours right now. Question for both of you: did either of your premiers provide advance notice of to you, or work with you, or consult with you or your office prior to calling the election?
No.
Okay.
No, not here either.
Not there. Okay. I do really appreciate both of you speaking to the long-term care, the costs associated, the challenges associated with the mail-in ballots. I know that the questions that we asked earlier to the chief electoral officer somehow, because we're conservative, my colleague across the way took offense to it, thinking that we were thinking that there was going to be some conspiracy. But you both keyed in on some key areas, both the long-term care challenges that we have in ensuring that those ballots are filled in properly, whether they're at the long-term care or let's say it's somebody working out of province that wants to vote. How did there's questions I want to ask for both of you, so these questions pertain to both. How many mail-in ballots were cast in the most recent New Brunswick? I believe you said there was 13,000. Is that correct, Ms. Poffenroth? Sorry, the PEI.
Yep.
13,000. Sorry, go ahead.
Here in PEI, sorry, Cam. Here in PEI, we just had 235 applications for the mail-in ballot process from the 4,200 electors.
Okay.
And I'll let Kim speak to New Brunswick.
Okay.
We had approximately 13,000, but that included over 7,000 were those mail-in ballots to long-term care facilities. And it's not, I'll in the interest of full disclosure, it's not a precise number because our mail-in ballots, when they're counted, are counted with all other special voting opportunities. Right. So it was taken from returning officers in their office going through their records. So there is, it's not an exact number, but it's.
How many would you say?
Mr. Doherty, I've just paused your time. There's a problem with your mic. I may not have been selected. It's not connecting.
All right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but the main thing is for the interpreters.
Can the interpreters hear me now? Hello?
Interpretation, can we do a sound check?
Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Yeah, it's a weird echo. It sounds like you're coming from far somewhere. Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Doherty, if it's not an issue of it not being plugged in, it might be on your interface. You need to select the audio, your audio headset, and then it'll go through the Zoom meeting itself.
Can you hear me now?
The interpreters are asking if you can just speak for a few more seconds, and we'll.
Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Okay, they tell me that's okay. That's better. So that seems to fix part of it.
Okay, Mr. Doherty, I'll start your time again.
Okay. I'm trying to remember where I was now. Of those 13,000, you did mention that there were, Ms. Poffenroth, there were some that would be, I guess, spoiled or not eligible. How many of those would you say that were not? Go ahead, sorry.
That I cannot tell you because the what I saw was just anecdotal going into returning offices when they were being processed, and they'd be included with all other spoiled ballots.
Okay. How does a voter obtain a mail-in ballot?
In New Brunswick,
Yes.
they have to fill out an application for a special ballot, which is available on the website, or you can pick up a paper copy, and it requires a signature in addition to the other information, but its signature is the most important piece.
Did they have to photocopy a piece of ID and include that in there with the signature, or?
No, in New Brunswick, legislatively, there's no requirement for ID, photo ID, unless if you're on the list of electors already. If you're not already a registered voter, then you would have to provide up to 2 pieces of ID that have 3 pieces of information: signature, your address, your civic address, and your name.
Do you have a plan if there is, and did either of you have a plan if there was a considerable spike during the election, like 2 weeks in or a week in, and things had to be shut down?
In New Brunswick, and this would have been when you were unavailable. In New Brunswick, there's no option under the Elections Act to stop an election once the writ has been issued, or once I've been directed to issue the writ, for that matter.
Okay.
And in Prince Edward Island, we do have the authority. I have the authority for certain reasons to put forward a recommendation to postpone, to withdraw the writ of election. And it is the Lieutenant Governor and Council who, upon my advice, may withdraw the writ, but it would have to be reissued within 3 months of that happening. And I currently have that in our legislation.
Did either of you consult with your local health authorities?
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. That will have to be a follow-up question, maybe. Dr. Duncan is next for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd like to begin by thanking our witnesses. Thank you for joining us today and bringing your experience and expertise. For this first question, I'm looking for a yes or no answer. It's both to Ms. Poffenroth and Mr. Garrity. Would each of you table with the committee the range and the number of cases from the lowest and the highest number, as well as the average number of cases for the election period, please?
Yes, we'd be able to do that. I believe
Perfect.
In PEI it's been 0.
Thank you. And to Ms. Poffenroth, could you table, please?
Yeah, I can do that. Similarly, I think it was 0.
Thank you. Ms. Poffenroth, would you be willing to table with the committee the health and safety measures for each of your yellow, orange, and red levels, please?
We only had 1 document, so I can table that.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Garrity, you mentioned you were an office of 3. Did you have to hire new people, yes or no?
Yes, we did. Additional people within the office and poll workers.
And could you give us an estimate of it for your office? What did the increase go up, and for the poll workers, please?
We had 2 additional people here in the office, or we still do, and we have hired 5 additional people to work at the poll. We call them COVID compliance officers. Essentially, they're a bit of traffic as well as sanitizing. They're cleaning surfaces after every elector votes. They clean the voting compartments.
And Mr. Garrity, how many people would you normally have in the polls? So that increase represents a what % increase, please?
That would probably be almost a 20% increase at the poll itself.
Thank you so much.
Do you think we should be going to election? I don't think we should have elections unless they're fixed date, like what's happening in state. They're fixed. It's this time. Right now, I think we should wait at least till springtime before we're even looking at election. You know, that's my idea. Leave your comments below. Have a good day. Stay tuned.